Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Wild West Banter podcast. On today's episode, we have a ton of big news. We're going to be going over some Myles Garrett and A.J. Brown talk, given that they just got traded, as well as the Derwin James contract, and we are also going to get into our AFC West top 10 player rankings. My name is Nick Carr, joined as always by Matthew Griffin. Matthew, how's it going today?
What up? Good, man. Derwin James is a Charger for life. I was thrilled to see that contract break. We've been talking about that here in kind of Chargers country, is whether this was going to happen before the season, before camp, how long this was going to go on. Super stoked to see that. And, things are good, man. I love that we have a ton of news to break today. So we'll tow a little bit out of the AFC West just to start. As we always talk about, we bring some league-wide analysis, league-wide news, anything that kind of shakes the NFL world. So, and all this happened today.
I know.
So this was beautiful planning, because we at first we didn't have a lot of this news. We had the Derwin James stuff and a little bit of other stuff we wanted to touch on. But yeah, crazy, dude, crazy. Myles Garrett is a LA Ram. I think we got to start there.
Yeah, given that it is June 1st, a lot of these rumored trades, even though Myles Garrett wasn't necessarily a rumor, but the A.J. Brown stuff was a rumor. But yeah, given that it's June 1st, a lot of these trades were able to go through. With Myles Garrett here, that's probably one of the more shocking trades that have come down in recent history, and maybe even the biggest trade of all time.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, where I kind of want to start here, I guess we'll do the trade details first. So the Los Angeles Rams, they received Myles Garrett in this trade. And then the Cleveland Browns, they're going to be receiving Jared Verse, the former Defensive Rookie of the Year back in 2024. And then the Browns are also receiving the Rams' 2027 first-round pick, a 2028 second-round pick, and a 2029 third-round pick. So when you look at this, in my opinion, you kind of do whatever it takes to get a player like Myles Garrett. We're definitely talking about a guy that is the best defensive player in the world right now. And when it all shakes out and it's all said and done, Myles Garrett could go down as for sure one of the top 3 to 5 best defensive players of all time. So, fantastic deal for the Rams. I think that the Browns got a pretty good haul for him. I maybe could have expected a little bit more, but getting Jared Verse coming back is something really positive for that Browns team.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was the 28 second and the 29 third. So
correct.
Adding those, the initial break was that it was the first round selection and Jared Verse, and that we knew more draft compensation was coming. I just didn't know what the details were going to be on that. I don't know, dude. It's fucking crazy. I guess were things that bad with Myles Garrett in the Cleveland Browns organization where they felt that they needed to do this? Because honestly, it's hard to put any kind of price tag or compensation on a player like that. So, in my eyes, were things we've talked that they might have been trending this way for a while, right? Like we've had trade requests come out. We've had the Browns respond to those trade requests saying that he is off the table. We've had rumor mill all over the place with Myles Garrett. And in my eyes, looking at this, it seems like the Browns knew that this was going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
At some point in time, there was going to be a break in that relationship, and I guess you strike while the iron's hot, right?
Yeah, I think the second that they didn't bring Jim Schwartz in as their head coach, I think that's kind of where things went south for Myles Garrett. I just think that he obviously had his best years under Schwartz. The relationship was strong there. I know Myles Garrett really liked him. They went with Todd Monken, correct?
From Baltimore.
So as soon as that kind of happened, I think that the wheels started turning there in this direction of Myles Garrett getting sent out. So
when we look at this trade, I'll start with the Browns side of things. You can't replace anything close to Myles Garrett. You can't do that. but you got to get the best you can. And what I do like on their side is they get a proven player and they get draft capital so that they get a lot of strikes at bat. Now, keep in mind, these Rams picks are not going to be high value top 10 picks, not even top 15, probably not even top 20 picks, right? No. The Rams already were a Super Bowl contender, and they got to be a favorite now, nonetheless. But if you're Cleveland, you do get you know the best defensive player on the Rams at the line of scrimmage that they had in Jared Verse. So you get that, which you got to feel good about. He's a fantastic player, so that's awesome for them. And then, you get a 1, 2, and 3. But, man, if I'm the Rams, they had Aaron Donald, and now they transition into having Myles Garrett after a couple years after Aaron Donald stepping away. But, man, what an incredible addition and cornerstone. And this is the Rams' mantra, dude. Fuck the picks, right? Like Aaron says it, fuck the picks. Like they're aggressive, dude.
I saw this thing. So in the last 10 years, the LA Rams have only drafted in the first round 3 times. Wild. So one of those first round picks was Ty Simpson this last year. The other 2 were Jared Goff and Jared Verse. So the 2 out of those 3 picks that they actually did pick, those 2 guys were traded away at a different date. So truly crazy. F them picks mantra there in LA. And if you're winning a Super Bowl once every 10 years, as a fan, I would take that.
Right.
I don't care about the new shiny toy in the first round. I care about winning Super Bowls. So if I'm an LA Rams fan, I fully trust what they're doing there, and I'm just like, hey, we got Myles Garrett. Let's go win a Super Bowl. So
you were already a Super Bowl contender or a favorite. Now you solidify yourself as that Super Bowl favorite. So you have a lot there, and dude, this is crazy, and it's got to ease some nerves on the Rams fan base with the Ty Simpson stuff.
Yeah,
because they were a little bit down on the Ty Simpson pick, and you can argue, rightfully so. They feel like they're in a win now era. They're in a win now mode with that championship window under Matt Stafford and Sean McVay. And you want your team to do everything to capitalize the window that you have, right? And you can argue getting Ty Simpson at 12 overall, 13 overall. You're setting yourself up for the future, but that doesn't sit well with fans in the now. They want an immediate impact player that's gonna keep your window open and even rise you guys up even more. So this has to make Rams fans feel a shit ton better.
So I truly feel like this is as close to a win-win trade as you can get. I mean, obviously, all the reasons that you just stated for the LA Rams, you're getting Myles Garrett, one of the best defensive players of all time. So obviously, you're the Rams, you're winning there. But when you look at it from the Cleveland Browns perspective, you're getting a guy back in Jared Verse that is extremely talented. Yes, I understand that there's a pretty big discrepancy between Myles Garrett's 23 sacks and I believe Jared Verse's 7 sacks last year. But ton of potential, still on a rookie deal.
23 sacks just sounds
like
stupid.
You have a lot going forward with you in Jared Verse, but for the Cleveland Browns, you weren't winning with Myles Garrett anyway. So being able to get a young player to kind of, take in that role of Myles Garrett, plus a 2027 first, and, from as far back as we are kind of projecting, this 2027 draft class is loaded. Even if it ends up being the 32nd overall pick in the draft, you got to feel pretty good about getting pretty good talent there, given how great that class is. So, if I'm the Browns, I obviously a very sad day because you're getting rid of one of the greatest players to ever play. But you weren't winning with him anyways. You got a good haul back for him. So,
and if I'm the Browns, it's what else am I gonna get?
Yeah.
What else is gonna happen? Right. The sting won't change no matter what team you trade him to. The sting of losing Myles Garrett is always going to be there.
Yeah.
And that's a Band-Aid that you just have to rip off. And at some point you have to realize, like, hey, what else were we going to get, right? Was there going to be an offer better than a 1, 2, 3 in Jared Verse? I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not.
No.
Probably not. So you you take your losses. Like you said, it sucks. You're losing probably the best player to ever play for your franchise, or one of the best players to ever wear your uniform for the last 9 seasons. That sucks. But you got to rip that off, and you got to start moving forward. And the best way to do that is to get high capital and get a proven young player to support that. So I like that for them. The outlook for the Rams, dude, still super talented. They have Kobe Turner. You have Byron Murphy. You have Myles Garrett. And you have Poona Ford. All on your D-line. And you also traded for Trent McDuffie on the back. You signed Jalen Watson. Like, this team is loaded, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely loaded.
Yeah, so kind of last thing I want to touch on here, kind of tying this back into the AFC West. Man, what a tough go for the AFC West this year in having to play the NFC West.
Yeah.
Rams just got extremely more tough with Myles Garrett. Obviously, you have the defending Super Bowl champions and the Seattle Seahawks. 49ers are always going to be tough. And then I guess you could have somewhat of a cupcake in the Cardinals. But, man, this Myles Garrett news,
it's a tough year for us to
it kind of scares me a little bit more for that Sunday night football game, week 3, when we have to play them. But
definitely.
So there was another ginormous trade that just went down, literally about a half hour before we started recording here. One that we were kind of expecting to happen here on June 1st, but that is A.J. Brown being traded from the Philadelphia Eagles to the New England Patriots. So in this deal, the New England Patriots acquire A.J. Brown, and then the Philadelphia Eagles acquire the Patriots' 2028 first, and I believe it's a 2027 fifth. But yeah, I mean, kind of initial reaction is we all knew it was going to be a first-round pick. I don't know if I would have given up a first-round pick for him. The Broncos gave up a first and a third for Jalen Waddle. I'd rather have Jalen Waddle over A.J. Brown, especially given the age and just the dynamic of what Jalen Waddle is.
A little bit of a head case with not Waddle, but Brown.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But yeah, I mean, you have A.J. Brown reuniting with Mike Vrabel there in New England. So, yeah, what do you think of the trade there?
Yeah, we all knew this was going to happen. The Patriots were going to get their wide receiver one for Drake May. We all knew that. They didn't have much of a choice, right? Like they were rumored to be targeting Alec Pierce. Doesn't happen. They were targeting Wan'Dale Robinson. He goes to Tennessee. They gave a pretty good deal to Dobbs.
Correct.
Yes. Yep. So, they need to get Drake May weapons. They know that. And none other than the best weapon on the market in A.J. Brown that's available. So I get it. I'm with you. Do I feel comfortable giving a first for A.J. Brown? I don't. Yeah. And as a team that was rumored to be heavily interested in A.J. Brown, I actually was against that from the start. I didn't want A.J. Brown to be a Charger. Do I think he could be beneficial and be a difference maker? When he's on, he is a great receiver. He's super physical. He's fantastic. He's obviously good enough to draw a first-round compensation. But for me, I don't like it. I wouldn't be comfortable doing it. But if I'm New England, you're not going to jump that hurdle until you get weapons. And they had to do it. They had to do it. They were rumored to. I like him reuniting with Mike Vrabel. And, yeah, we'll see how that pays off. Philly drafted their replacement in the first round. Yeah. So their new wide receiver one to pair up with Devontae Smith. So we'll see. We'll see how that shakes out. This was one that it was a matter of time. And, happened to fall right before we record.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with A.J. Brown going to the Patriots, you do have that number one now that I feel like they've been craving for a long time. Even when you kind of go back to the Tom Brady era, like, yeah, you had Julian Edelman, you had Wes Welker, but, I mean, true number one there was always Gronk.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this may be the biggest name since, like, Randy Moss. Or even, I mean, I guess you could toss Wes Welker in there. But, yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I feel like the Patriots do have a pretty good wide receiver room now with A.J. Brown, Romeo Dobbs, and who's the other one? Booty?
Yeah, okay, Sean. Yeah, the Stephon Diggs project wasn't
I mean, he played great last year, but
it wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Diggs is still on the market, so see what happens with that. But yeah, I think you go get Dobbs, you go get AJ Brown. If you're Drake May, you're happy. You have a lot more targets to throw to. Some people that are going to get open, and they needed it, man. That was a pretty uninspiring wide receiver room, and for a team that just came off a Super Bowl appearance, they feel like they do have a window with Drake May being on a rookie contract, and with the mojo of Mike Vrabel and what he's brought to that organization after Belichick. I think for them, they feel like they got to take some shots and throw it at the dartboard, and I get it. I don't love the compensation for A.J. Brown, but I can understand the thought process behind it.
Yeah. So before we move on to some other news that has happened, since we've been talking about first-round picks getting sent out today, I just wanted to kind of throw a quick question at you. If you were to give up your 2027 first, knowing how good of a class it is, if you were to trade that for one player in the league, who would it be? Or are you holding on to your 2027 first?
I'm not holding on to it because I think the Chargers are in a window. And I do think we are on the cusp of a contending window. So I would like the aggressiveness. It's hard to pick a player that, we're assuming guys like aren't available that we would assume would be available.
Totally.
But some names that come to mind for me are like a DeMarcus Lawrence out of New York. I would have been comfortable giving a first to get an interior D tackle like that.
Sure.
Trent McDuffie.
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm going off position groups. I joked before the podcast about Quinn Miners. I'm thinking I'm looking at the Chargers roster and where they could benefit from the biggest, are there better players than those guys? 100%. But I'm going purely off the Chargers roster. I'm looking for an interior DT or a CB1. Yeah. Those would be my top two. Next would be a right guard. And honestly, that probably would have been number one, would have been a guard. But the way we've addressed the offensive line in this offseason, I would prioritize a CB1 or a DT like DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah. I mean, I guess so for the Broncos, kind of asking myself the same question. It's got to be either the inside linebacker room or the tight end.
Sure.
It's a little difficult to give up a first-round pick for one of those positions.
Yeah.
But, if there was some type of package where, we could get a Kyle Pitts, I don't think it would take a first-round pick. But getting a guy like that or the inside linebacker position, again, I don't think it would take a first-round pick, but I would go out and trade for a Fred Warner or something like that.
Sure.
But again, that's none of those is going to happen.
Yeah.
But
those two positions, though,
yeah,
for sure. Yeah, that's same for us, man. With the DT, when D-Law requested that trade, we talked about it on one of the episodes, and I was like, Chargers should be making phone calls.
Yeah,
immediately. We needed a guy like that. The Bengals, obviously, dude, sending the 10th overall pick, it was pick 10.
Correct.
For D-Law is wild. I would feel more comfortable with our later of the first round, pick anywhere from 20 to 30 of where we're going to be picking for the next couple of years. I would be comfortable with that, and I would have sent a first for D-Law. I would have done it. I don't know if I would have sent a top 10 pick, but I would have sent our first.
Sweet. All right. Well, hey, let's get into your big news here. Derwin James. So before we kind of get into, I guess, give us the details of the contract real quick here, Matthew.
Yep. So Derwin James gets extended. He signs a 3-year, $75.6 million extension with about $57 million of that guaranteed. He's approaching, I think he's 30 now. I believe he's 30 now. So this will expire come, 33, 34-year-old. This is massive. The Chargers were super excited about this. We knew Derwin James was likely to be extended. It was a matter of time for us. Are we going to get this done before training camp? Are we going to risk going through camp? I never had a fear that DJ would be a holdout candidate. I wasn't too worried about that. But obviously the longer you wait, the more uneasy you start to feel, right?
Yeah.
You want to get these guys locked down. And I kind of talked about it a little bit with you when this broke and a little bit on TikTok is Is that expensive? 100%. Like, is it an overpay? Maybe. Like, you can argue a little bit. That's massive money for a strong safety or free safety. But you can't put a financial number, a numeric value on a guy like Derwin James, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And you can't, I have a hard time comparing Derwin James to the other safety market because people don't play like Derwin James.
Yeah.
He is such a unique athlete. He's such a unique football player that can really be your nickel corner, your safety, your linebacker. He can line up on the edge rusher, and he can do it all, man. He's a defensive captain. He's your franchise cornerstone on defense for the last several years. A guy like this that you and I talked about, you want to make him a Charger for life. And I feel like they gave him that respect. The cool thing with this is now the second time in his career he became the highest paid safety in history. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. He set the market his first time, which is what everyone wants, right? Like like, if you can set the market at your position, that's an incredible career, right? To even get to that point. To do it twice, that's unheard of. That just goes to show the kind of guy and the player and character that Derwin James is.
Well, and I think that it kind of sets a precedence for your organization. So it's just like what your GM and your ownership is telling the rest of your team that, okay, if you play like a badass and you're, a role model and you do everything the right way, the Charger way, which I think the Charger way is not great. But if you do everything that we kind of expect from you, we have no problems setting the market twice.
Well,
so
take care of your own.
Yeah, that sets like a good morale there in the locker room. I think that with Derwin James, we were kind of talking about this a few days ago. There are few players on every team that you just take care of and you make sure that they are players of your organization for their entire career. Derwin James is certainly one of those guys. I kind of compared it to like, okay, this is kind of what I expect from Pat Surtain. But like a guy like a Joey Bosa, like fantastic player for the Chargers, but those are guys like, yes, it hurts to see them leave, but they're not necessarily the Charger for life people. So kind of when I tied it back to the Broncos, I fully expect the Broncos to give Pat Surtain that same treatment, but a guy that is probably going to demand a lot of money and won't be a Bronco for life is a guy like Nick Bonito. When that day comes and he leaves, yes, it's going to suck, but there's just a different level to guys like Pat Surtain and Derwin James, and you have to take care of those guys. So.
You do. You made a good point about the morale and what it says for your organization and your players. I couldn't agree more with that. Like you said, it rewards your guys that show up every day, do it right, and the impact that they made. It shows that it's not taken for granted. And yes, is the NFL a business? Yes, but is there a certain sense of loyalty and rewarding your dudes that have been there since day one, and that's what they did. That's got to feel good for a lot of those dudes in the building that hope to have a career trajectory like Derwin James.
Yeah.
And it would break my heart to ever see him have to play for another team. There's not a football fan in the world that can watch Derwin James and not be excited.
Yeah.
I don't care how much you hate the Chargers. It doesn't matter. He is a guy that every football fan should be enjoying. He's one of my favorite players of all time. This was a great day. I was very, very excited to see that done, and just to have our defensive captain locked up for 3 more is incredible.
Yeah.
Before we jump into the other one, I do want to pose a question to you. It is similar to this Derwin James talk to an extent, but I'm curious your opinion. Tui Pelotu is due for an extension. So he has 1 more year left on that contract, and then he's going to be up. We are already in talks with his agents. Derwin and Tuli were basically like our offseason priorities. Like, we need to start getting that ball rolling and talking to the agents on how we can extend them, how we can make them continue their careers in LA. So a lot of the discussion right now with Tuli is the risk. Mm-hmm. The risk on the Chargers' behalf and the risk on Tuli's behalf of letting this year play out before you do the contract.
Yep.
Tuli's been a good player his whole career.
Mm-hmm.
He's only been great for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And you can argue, was that the only year he had a chance to because of the depth chart and where he was at? Yeah, I agree with that. Mm-hmm. Signing him now is a risk. You are now, because you're going to be signing him for probably $30 million. I would say is your starting number. I would be surprised if it's anything less than that, truly.
Okay.
You're banking that was the norm. That's not a one-off breakout season, that he can continue that type of production. And you have everything going for you. His age, his development, how he's progressed. He's super young. I don't even think he's 25 years old yet. Like, you have a ton going for you to feel comfortable banking that on. But you also run the risk of, we don't sign him now. We let this year play out, and then the counter to that is the price tag is going to go way up.
Correct.
Because he's going to do it again, potentially, and he gets another 13 sack season. He was top 10 in the league in pressures. He was top 5 in the league in sacks. If he follows that and does it for a second year, that's not a $30 million contract anymore. No. You're jumping closer to 40 at this point.
Yeah.
So, if not more. So you risk that number goes way up, or you risk that he gets hurt, that the production ain't the same. And for Thule, it's the same risk, right? Do I cash in now while I can? Because injury is always a risk. And if he blows his ACL or some shit happens, he loses a big payday. Or if for him, is it do I gamble on myself? Do I run one more, show them that I can do that shit again? And now instead of 30 mil, I'm demanding 40 mil. Yeah. So in your opinion, if you're the Chargers front office, are you rushing to get Thule signed before this season starts, or are you comfortable waiting?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously a very, very similar situation to what the Denver Broncos were dealing with Nick Bonito last offseason. And we signed him right before training camp started. But, yeah, I mean, we were here in Broncos country asking all the same questions that you just posed. And it was one of those things where, the going rate for top pass rushers were, 40 mil plus. So we were kind of sitting here of like, okay, like, do we sign him now to a $30 million contract, or do we wait and he ends up making $40 million plus? And what I will say is, through that experience, I felt like there was no right answer because it's both arguments make sense.
They do.
Now, obviously, with the hindsight of everything, and we ended up locking Nick Bonito down far less than what we all thought he was going to get. I think he's only making like $26.5 million a year, which is an incredible steal. But hindsight, always 2020. I'm so glad that we got Nick Bonito locked down for that number, because Bonito as a pure pass rusher is a top 5 pass rusher in the NFL, and he's only making $26.5 million a year. So it's just an incredible contract. So what I will say is, like, from what we learned through that situation, it's probably the smarter thing to sign him now and just take that risk of him playing like he did last year, because then you have an incredible steal. I just find it hard for those type of players to have a significant drop off. I feel like it's extremely rare to see a guy get 13 sacks in a season and then the next year drop down to like 6 or 7. I did make the joke. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like the smarter thing to do would just be sign him now, and do it that way, because you want to get him locked in at that number close to 30 rather than taking the chance and potentially losing out on him because he's going to price himself out, or having to just bite the bullet and pay him.
And you don't want to disrespect or piss him off either, right? You do have to play some emotions. You brought up a good point with Nick Bonito, and you guys experiencing this close to heart for you guys. So I tend to agree with you on that side. If I'm the Chargers, I do it now.
Yeah,
I do. I'm not that worried about Thule. And honestly, if you're looking for a solution that is risk-free, you're in the wrong place, right? Like, you can only minimize risk so much, but you will always take it on. It's always going to be there with every contract that you give, every signing that you have, every draft pick that you make. It's a business of it, right?
Well, and you have to be a successful franchise, you kind of have to take calculated risks here, While signing Thule is going to be a risk, I'm saying that in air quotes, you have to do that to build a sustainably winning franchise, because you have other players that you have to pay. So if you can get one of your better defensive players on a discounted deal, you take that risk. Yeah. Because then you're building success for the future that way.
Yeah, so. I couldn't agree more. And you got to look at the future too. Khalil Mack is 1 year away from retiring, maybe 2, if that, right? So you just drafted Akeem Mesidor. You want to build that foundation. You let Odafe Owe walk and hit the market. Say what you will about that. But yeah, you got to take this risk, and you can't get the reward if you never do it. Yeah. So I'm if I'm the Chargers, I'm on the phone with Thule's agents, just like we were with Derwin, on how can we get this done before camp.
Yeah.
But
all right, well, yeah, let's get into our last little bit of news before we head into the main topic of this episode. So we're going to talk a little bit about the New York Giants, happening again today, signing Odell Beckham Jr. and Juju Smith-Schuster. So, yeah, OBJ back there in New York. So I think these signings only mean one thing. Obviously, you're bringing in 2 guys that are veterans, past their prime, not scary in any way, in my opinion. But if I'm a Giants fan, I'm like, what the hell is going on with Malik Neighbors?
You got to be worried
now. His injury's got to be a lot worse than what we initially thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And these signings point to that being true. And then you have, on top of that, John Harbaugh's statements that Neighbors' injury is not your typical knee injury, that it's more significant than they anticipated. We don't know a ton of the details about what that means, how that looks for this year, what kind of time are we talking about him missing. Is this a career lingering one? Is this going to be several surgeries? Like, we don't know the answer to a lot of those questions. But we do know is that they're making moves in anticipation of something, right? And if you're a Giants fan, I agree. You do have to be worried at these moves. Did they already need some wide receiver depth after losing Wan'Dale? Yeah, they did. But the timing of this in conjunction with Harbaugh talking about Neighbors' injury being not your typical knee injury, yeah, you got to be a little bit worried. And the OBJ thing, like, to me, that's a feel-good story. That's a feel-good news, right? Everyone likes seeing a franchise legend, if you will, if you want to call him that, but they like seeing a fan favorite from your franchise make a return. It's a feel-good story. Is this going to be a difference maker on the field in 2026? No, I don't think so. I don't think OBJ is going to go in there and scare anybody.
I'd be shocked if he got 500 yards this season.
Yeah, me too. Same with Juju, though. Like, neither of these guys are moving the needle significantly for your team. They're giving you some insurance of guys and bodies in the room to prepare for something with Neighbors. So, yeah, I'm concerned if I'm a Giants fan.
So, with Neighbors being out, who is your number 1 wide receiver?
Who did they have besides Wan'Dale? Did they draft?
No, they didn't draft anyone. But what was it? Man, I don't even think he's there anymore. Sorry, this is really bad podcasting right now. We're looking things up on the fly.
Oh, they also signed Braxton Berrios. So
that's very uninspiring.
That's 3 dudes, though. Darius Slayton.
Oh, yeah. So
Darnell Mooney.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nothing.
They draft Malachi Fields.
Sure.
And
so
then
I mean,
Hyatt.
with all of this, though, like, you know, I feel like people were
Calvin Austin
are like really high on Jackson Dart. And, you know, I don't really know why. You know, he had a decent year last year.
Yeah, he was fun.
But if we're talking about Jackson Dart's progression, the weapons that they have there in New York are very uninspiring. And I just, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
I think Calvin Austin's your 1.
Yeah, and that's
in my
not
opinion.
Great.
No, it's not. We saw him as the 2 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like we might see a career progression from Jackson Dart of kind of fizzling out. Maybe it's not because of his talent, but it's just because of what's around him, you know.
Sounds like New York Jets talk.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, I'm worried. If I'm a Giants fan, I'm a little bit worried about Malik Neighbors, and hopefully there's more to come. And, you know, say what you will. I hope the best for a young star like that. I hope he can get back on the field.
Yeah. Well, that's more than enough Giants talk than we've ever need to talk about. So, well, let's get into the main part of this episode. We are going to be talking about the AFC West top 10 players. So what I will say with this, it was a little difficult ranking everyone, given that there's a ton of talent here in the AFC West, and we didn't know kind of how to take in positional value and just talent and production and all that stuff. So I'm sure that there will be a lot of discussion, not only between the two of us, given that, we made this together, but definitely in the comment section, we'd like to hear how you guys would rank these. So yeah, with that being said, we'll just get straight into number 1 here. I feel like we took positional value here. This is, I feel like, a fairly easy one to put here. It's Patrick Mahomes here at number 1. I don't really think that you could put it any way else. Mahomes, yes, he had a down season last year and quite honestly the year before as well. But even with that, he's still a top 3 quarterback in the NFL and one of the best talents that we've seen in the last decade. So we have Patrick Mahomes at 1. What do you have to add here, Matthew?
Not much. There's not much to say about that. He's ran the position, like you said, probably for the last 10 years. He's a future Hall of Famer, multi-time Super Bowl winner. Just incredible player. We'll see how he comes back from this ACL injury and as he's climbing up there in age. But you talked about it, even in his down years, he is one of the best in the game. Mm-hmm. And there's not much more to be said there. I think combining the individual talent and skill set with the positional value, there's no other way to put this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we tried to do on a lot of this is some of these guys, you get them where they may be like one of the best or top 5 players at their position, but their positional value might be lower than a quarterback or a corner or an edge rusher. Yeah. So that makes it difficult when you have to combine those things. And we'll get into that on what drove the analysis, because I really think once you get through like 4 through 8, a lot of those discussions, man. Yeah. So I have nothing more to say about Mahomes. That was an easy selection for us.
Yeah. So coming in at number 2, we have Pat Surtain. You might be wondering why we didn't put one of the quarterbacks here at number 2, given that we do have some good quarterbacks in this division. But we had to put Surtain there. When we're talking about just pure talent, Surtain is generational. This guy is up there with the Darrelle Revis, the Champ Bailey, those type of corners. He is the ultimate guy to build around for a defense as far as defense goes. And, the cornerback position is definitely extremely important. And when I would say you're ranking importance of positions, I would say like quarterback, obviously number 1. Then you could do like your left tackle, edge rushers, corners. Yeah. Like all of those are really important. And I would honestly put corner at number 3 as far as importance goes. But yeah, Pat Surtain, he's been a defensive player of the year. He is the ultimate shutdown corner. You put him on an island, no one throws to him. When they do throw to him, it's only bad news for that offense. He's great. So
he has everything you want when you're designing a corner. A lot of the teams that dream about having a CB1 look at guys like Pat Surtain. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, the only one in the entire NFL that you can put in the conversation with Pat Surtain is Derek Stingley. Mm-hmm. And I think he's your clear number 2 corner. But the gap of Surtain and the rest of his class at his position, I think is pretty damn big. Yeah. He's a monster, dude. He's an incredible player. He's everything that you want in a corner. He's everything you want in a teammate. He's great for you guys. And you hit the nail on the head with it's a great combination, similar to what we said about Mahomes. It's a great combination of an elite skill set with the accolades, with the performance, combined with the positional value. Yeah. And I agree. I think corner is a very, very high up there on positional value when you look at an entire roster, I agree. It's at the bare minimum, it's top 5 in positional value, but you even said 3, right? Like, I agree. I think given his positional value and given his performance and the gap that he has between the rest of the corners in this league, that Surtain would be no less than the number 3 on my board. If you were going to argue anything else, you can't put him anything lower.
Yeah.
So I was very comfortable putting Surtain at 2, ahead of who we're about to talk about next.
Yeah, so we're at the number 3 position. We are talking about Bo Nix. No?
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. All right. So, no, we do have a quarterback here, number 3. It is Justin Herbert. With this one, it's the question of winning is always going to come up with Justin Herbert. But with here, we're talking about pure talent, what he has been able to do with uninspiring teams around him. Obviously, he has played through some awful situations, whether it's the playmakers around him, the offensive line. He has been injured in his career, but the guy always perseveres. He seems to find a way to at least get the Chargers to the playoffs, but that's where he struggles, is in the playoffs. So, I feel like with this one, we specifically just took in his talent in here, as well as positional value. And the only knock on him is, can he win, so.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. You can't talk about Justin Herbert's career trajectory without talking about being 0-3 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And as a Chargers fan, I get it. I understand that. And I sit here and pray that that's going to change. I have confidence that's going to change. But you would be ignorant to not bring it up. So I completely understand that mindset. When you take in the positional value, you take in the talent, you take in the context of his career, because it does matter. And I don't want to sit here and be the excuse guy for Justin Herbert, because there is blame on his part. But this dude is an incredible athlete. He's just, if we're talking about pure talent, he's a top 5 quarterback in the league, in my opinion, just off of what he has the ability to do on the field that no one else does. His character is insane. You can't ask for anything more on the field, off the field, in terms of him as a person and what he does. That is never a dude to show attitude. That's never a guy that's going to give excuses. He had the worst offensive line in the entire league for the last decade, and he won't say a single bad thing about that group. He is a great dude. He's a great player. With the quarterback position being so damn high in positional value, and then you combine that with the skill set that Justin Herbert brings, I have to put him at 3.
Yeah.
I could sit here and talk about him forever, but that is what went into my analysis there. When we go into 4 and 5, this is where I could see some switches. And if it's me, so we have Creed Humphrey at 4.
Mm-hmm.
If it's me looking at it, and the more I think about it, I would feel comfortable putting Max Crosby at 4.
Sure.
But
yeah, I mean, I'm willing to make the switch. I guess we can argue both ways here.
Sure.
So let's talk about Creed Humphrey at number 4 right now. So Creed Humphrey, the center for the Kansas City Chiefs. The reason why I kind of see that he is at number 4 here is just because, and I guess you could argue this for Max Crosby too, but Creed Humphrey has really covered up the very big blemishes of what the Kansas City offensive line is, and turns that group into serviceable. Creed Humphrey is an outstanding center. He's one of those guys that, the Chiefs are going to be able to rely on for the next probably 10 more seasons, and he'll, sprint his way into the Hall of Fame. He's an incredible center. The relationship between him and Patrick Mahomes is very noticeable on the field. And the guy's just a straight mauler. He's great in the run game, great in the pass game. he has no problems with any defensive player that he goes up against. So I just think Creed Humphrey is a star. But yeah, I mean, you could argue all those same points for Max Crosby.
You can, and it is difficult, especially when we're combining. Shit, I just fucked that up. You
have another beer.
You mentioned that they're both outstanding players. Positional value is so hard with edge rusher, and I think center gets overlooked. We talk about the O-line, and when we talk about the O-line, we talk about your blind side, your left tackle. We even talk about your right tackle. But edge rushers is so much flashier. It's more fun to watch. It's more popular. It's more, and a lot of the times
more game breaking.
Yeah, when you're looking at the game, you say like, who's making more of a difference? It's usually your edge rushers, right? But a lot of that is from people that don't watch that center position, and a lot of times haven't experienced having such a shitty center. Us having Bradley Bozeman for the years that we did made me have a different level of appreciation for that position.
Yeah.
Going from, I'm going to blank on his name. Corey Lindsley. Going from Corey Lindsley, who's a Pro Bowl center, to Bradley Bozeman, you could see it a mile away watching that team and how that changes that entire offense. So yeah, this was tough. I could be fine going either way. I think Max, if you're going to argue anyone over Creed at 4, I think Max is your guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's played in a group that's pretty uninspiring for the Raiders and what they've been able to do around him, and he consistently just balls out. He has the production, but he passes the eye test too. Even when he's not putting up numbers, he's always a difference maker in the game. And his importance in the run game, he is incredible. He's one of the best DNs I've seen in the run game. He's fucking awesome. So, yeah, I think in a world where we don't have Max, right? I think Creed and Linderbaum are so close in terms of being. Like when I'm thinking of the center position and I'm looking at the entire NFL, I'm thinking about Creed Humphrey, Tyler Linderbaum, and Zach Frazier, in my opinion. And Creed and Linderbaum are so damn close, but I get having Creed at 4, that position, and what he's been able to do for the offensive line of the Chiefs. And yeah, he's the glue that holds that unit together. And I think if you remove him, you see a lot of blemishes on that line. So,
well, yeah, what I will say about Max Crosby, if he played against the Denver Broncos every single game of the year, he'd probably be at number 1 on the list because he wrecks the Broncos every time he plays us, and I cannot stand him.
You just need a Joe Alt to be against him, dude. Yeah, Joe Alt shuts that dude down.
But all right, so enough about that.
We have Max at 5.
Max Crosby is at number 5. He's great. If you want to put him at 4, go ahead. But yeah, I mean, he's a game wrecker. He's awesome. I don't like him. That is what it is. So, at number 6, kind of teased it. We do have Tyler Linderbaum there, center for the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, they gave him a huge deal for a center this offseason. Worth it? I think so. It's a lot of money, so who knows? But he's fantastic. Again, he's easily a top 3 center in the NFL. We'll see what he looks like in Vegas, especially given that they don't really have a good offensive line to go along with him. But, yeah, he's great. So we have him at number 6. That's simply based off of what he was in Baltimore. But, yeah.
You told me to have another
awesome.
beer, so
yeah. Matthew is an alcoholic. I don't get it. He's just opening up another beer because we are getting into a Charger player here soon. But I mean, do you have anything to add on Tyler Linderbaum being here at number 6?
No, we talk about that contract, and I think that just goes to show, one, the market drove it. We knew he was going to set that standard for the center position just on the timing of his career. That's usually what dictates this market value, is the timing of the contracts on when people break out and when they're due for the deal. Like that's typically what does it. It's not always the best player ever at the position. It's just the timing and how the salary cap works. But this goes to show how valuable the league thought he was.
Yeah.
And that can't be understated. Is the if the Raiders weren't going to do the $26 million, I guarantee there were a lot of teams that were going to top 20. You know what I mean? So I think there's a reason why he got paid what he did. He's still, I think, only like 26 years old, 27 years old. He's a fantastic center. And yeah, when you combine, like I said, I don't think he's far off from Creed. So I have no no issues. He was a easy lock for me in the top 10. It was just kind of playing with who goes where. But, yeah, you can't talk about a top 10 without Linderbaum, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. So we have not Broncos, but here at number 7 we have Derwin James. This is Matthew's favorite player. Derwin James, he's a do-it-all kind of player. Again, I feel like you could kind of argue him maybe a little bit higher on this list because of his versatility. The guy can play safety, he can play nickel, he can come off the edge. He's your Swiss Army knife of a defensive player, and probably one of the better ones to ever do it. Certainly one of the better ones of our generation. So, I feel like it's pretty easy putting him here at number 7. Obviously was rewarded for his success this last week. So.
Yeah, I think you can argue him in the same conversation as the last 2 to 3 players, in my opinion. I'm not saying he should be at number 4, but I think he belongs in that discussion just with what he brings to the table. We already talked about it at the beginning of this episode, talking about his contract. Derwin James is truly invaluable. He will, in my opinion, will go down as one of the best safeties to ever play in the NFL. Yeah. He's just that good. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, and what he brings to a team and his level of physicality. I mean, he has the physical sense of a middle linebacker with the speed, agility, and movement of a DB. And it's just a rare combination of pure athleticism and the smarts that he has. He knows how to play the game the right way. And I'll say he had to change a lot of his game. There was a time period where, Derwin battled injuries early in his career, and then he was on league notice and was watched like a hawk he was getting flagged. Every single hard hit was flagged, and he even got suspended for shit. He is an old school hard hitting safety. In my opinion, he's the hardest hitter in the NFL on defense, and he had to tailor that play so that he can be available for his team. Because I truly think the way it was going, he was just going to start catching fines and suspensions. Derwin, he's an invaluable player. He does everything for you. He's what every defensive coordinator would dream of having when building a defense. So I think that's a great spot for him. And if you wanted to argue him top 5, I would be open to that conversation as well.
Sure. All right. So getting into number 8 here. So we have 3 more players here, obviously 8, 9, and 10. And then we have some honorable mentions. And when we get into the honorable mentions, I feel like I'm going to have to argue for some Bronco players here. But we do have a Bronco player here at number 8, and that is going to be Nick Bonito. So with Nick Bonito, he has really turned it on the last 2 years. He's been a project for the Denver Broncos. When he was drafted in the second round, the Broncos had hopes for him to turn into an elite pass rusher. There was always question of how good is he going to be in the run game. Is he good at pass coverage? But really with Bonito, he has turned into an elite pass rusher, and his run defense has come along enough for him to be able to stay on the field for 3 downs. So Nick Bonito has absolutely turned into a star. He's been top 5 in sacks for the last two seasons. He's definitely the player that teams have to plan for when they're playing this Denver Broncos defense. So, I love Nick Bonito, but from a Chargers perspective here, Matthew, what are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, all the props in the world to you guys for getting Nick Bonito developed the way he has, paid him the way he did. We talk about the contract and developed him. Like, we talk about second-round edge rushers, and a lot of the times you're not going to get top 5 level production from a second-round edge rusher. Mm-mm. You don't. There are some outliers out there, and Nick Bonito has solidified himself as one of the best edge rushers that the game has. And he's a game record. The dude rises to the moment. The very biggest snaps of the game, I mean, that dude is always making noise. He finds a way to get to the quarterback. Say what you will about his run defense. I understand it. Is there more well-rounded edge rushers? Sure. But I think Bonito makes up for that the last 2 years doing what he's done. Yep. I'm okay with having a guy that's a little bit more lack in the run grade, and dropping back off the line of scrimmage as long as he can get after the quarterback the way he does. So I understand it. For me, I think Nick Bonito being right here, his positional value is so high. You can argue edge rusher is maybe second behind quarterback.
Yeah.
It's at a positional value that high, and then you get a guy that's producing at a top 5 level across the entire league. You can't make a list without him, in my opinion. So, I think this is a good selection, and the way that he's rounding out his career, and it looks like it's not slowing down. If anything, I think he's picking up. So, I think Bonito is a great player to have in the top 10.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have number 9 here. We have the last Charger on the list, and that is going to be Joe Alt. So with this one, I feel like there might be a little bit of an argument from the listeners and the viewer, simply because he of the injuries. But with Joe Alt, he is one of the more talented offensive tackles to come out in recent history. And when the guy does play, there's nothing you can do to get past this guy. He is phenomenal. He does everything right. He's your, lunch pail type of guy. He's fantastic. So that's why we put him here. Yes, there's some other more proven guys that you could argue to put here, such as a Quinn Miners or even a Rashawn Slater, or even Garrett Bowles for that matter. But I just feel like with Joe Alt's ceiling and what he has been able to show when he has played, he's unbelievable. So
yeah, I think if you see Joe Alt's ankle get right, you are going to have a very, very hard time finding a better right tackle in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
I think that is his ceiling. I think he can be the best right tackle in the entire NFL and continue that for several years of his career. When Joe Alt was drafted out of Notre Dame, the Chargers were getting a lot of heat because we were rumored to take Malik Neighbors. Mm-hmm. We were hoping for him. I think that was the same class as Marvin Harrison. Mm-hmm. And we were just falling out of the cusp of Marvin Harrison, but Malik Neighbors was right there, and myself included was thrilled at the idea of getting Malik Neighbors with Justin Herbert. Not the flashiest
would have been
pick.
A perfect pick because he's injured now too. So
yeah, exactly.
Would have made sense.
Not the flashiest pick, but the most important pick, in my opinion. And it's a Jim Harbaugh pick. And I knew Joe Alt was so highly regarded watching him out of the draft and everything he accomplished at Notre Dame. But he was different, man, from day one. This guy did not have a transition period or a rough stretch of acclimating to NFL play. This guy immediately upon first snap was one of the best, and that's rare to see. And we saw that in game 2 of his career. He goes one-on-one with Max Crosby, allows 0 pressure, 0 sacks, and just manhandles him all game long. And you're like, this dude's different. You watch guys like this, and you're like, he's different. And yeah, Joe Alt being as young as he is, I know he just had an injury-riddled second season and whatnot, but the trajectory of what his career can be and what his ceiling is and the value of having such a stout tackle that's as big as he is, that moves the way he does, it does not matter. Defensive coordinators will game plan their edge rushers away from Joe Alt, and that's what you look for. So, in my opinion, it was a no-brainer to put Joe Alt on this list. I don't care that he's young. I don't care that he had those injuries. He is that good of a player.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, let's get into our final guy on this top 10 list. So at number 10, we have tight end from the Las Vegas Raiders, Brock Bowers. So with Brock Bowers, this guy has potential to go down as one of the greatest tight ends of all time. We've seen it. His rookie year was incredible. He dealt with some injuries last year. But he is that Raiders offense, in my opinion. And when he has played, he's been unbelievable. There's no stopping Brock Bowers. He is the next Rob Gronkowski, but faster and I think more dynamic. Just unbelievable what Brock Bowers is. So,
yeah, this one was interesting for me because he doesn't meet the criteria of positional value in my opinion. But my response to that is Brock Bowers also puts up receiver-like numbers. Mm-hmm. So when Brock Bowers, similar to like how Travis Kelce was with the Chiefs, as Rob Gronkowski was for the Patriots, Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, you start going down Shannon Sharp. You start talking about the top tight ends of their eras and of the history of the NFL. I think Brock Bowers meets that criteria, and I know it's early and he has a long way to go. By no means am I saying he's one of those guys yet. I'm just projecting that his career has that potential because of the skill sets that he has as a playmaker. And we talk about this all the time with offensive coordinators and with quarterbacks. You can't have enough playmakers. And having a tight end that can move the way Brock Bowers does, that has the catch radius that Brock Bowers does, the yards after catch potential that Bowers does, it's insane how much of a difference that makes for an entire offense. And given how good he is, man, what he's accomplished this early in his career, he made the cusp for me. We can talk about these honorable mentions because there's a few guys I think you can challenge Brock Bowers with, and I would be okay with that. But his name deserves to be in this conversation.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: if you talked about wanting to maybe sell a couple more Broncos players, or maybe non-Broncos players, whatever. If you're subbing in an honorable mention, I don't care if it's at 10, 9, whatever. Who are you picking that's right on the cusp that you think you can argue in the top 10?
Man, that's difficult.
And by the way, we just made it through 10, and we didn't mention Bo Nix.
Well,
so
get ready.
Oh, shit. Here we go.
So I'm going to mention Bo Nix here simply because of the positional value.
Okay.
And what Bo Nix has accomplished already in his 2 seasons in the NFL. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get Bo Nix on this top 10 list because of who I'm sitting next to.
But you were okay with it.
Okay with it.
You were okay with it.
I think we do this exact same exercise after this year. We're going to have to be putting Bo Nix in this conversation, even as high as number 4 on this list. And with Bo Nix, like when we're talking about all of this, we always talked about the positional value, and the quarterback is the ultimate positional value position. And then you talk about what he has been able to do, not only statistically, where like I know you can argue against his statistics because he has thrown the most passes in the NFL over the last 2 seasons, but the guy's a winner. And when it comes down to it, out of any of these players on here outside of Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix is a winner. And that's the argument that I have between him and Justin Herbert. Obviously, you'll never hear me say that Bo Nix is more talented than Justin Herbert, but I will argue till my grave that Bo Nix is clearly a more apt to win rather than Justin Herbert. The amount of game-winning drives that he had last year was very reminiscent of what Tim Tebow did for us, but Bo Nix is significantly more talented. The guy got us to an AFC championship game last year, and again, that's something that I'll argue until my death, that if Bo Nix is playing in that AFC championship game, we're playing against the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that we're going to beat the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, but we are at least there. So that's why I believe that Bo Nix should be on this top 10 list, but I know that there was no way that I was going to be able to get that past Matthew. So,
no, I do understand it. There's a couple of points with Bo Nix that I'll make, and he did surprise me, and he continues to surprise me because he makes some outstanding plays, and he makes some outstanding plays in very big moments, like you talked about being a winner. No matter how much I dislike the guy just because he's on a division rival, no how much I just dislike him just because I like to shit talk you or other Broncos fans, you got to give credit where it's due, and Bo Nix does deserve that. So I will give you that. He does. And he is a good quarterback in this league. He has shown that he belongs, and he has shown that he can be a difference maker. So that's the most you'll get out of me complimenting your boy.
I'll take it.
I do think, it's hard. When Bo Nix is given the best offensive line in football, when Bo Nix is given the best defense in football, when Bo Nix is given an elite head coach. Like, he has, which is great. Like, it's hard to argue that because it's like, yeah, we set him up for success. Your organization did an awesome job with that. You guys deserve that. But I would be curious to see what he can accomplish in harder times where that's not the case. And
so
I know
can I argue that point
Sure.
real quick? So give credit due in a scenario where all of those things that you just mentioned of offensive line and a great defense, when we were playing the New York Giants last year and we were getting our absolute shit knocked in, and we were down at one point by like 28 points. Yeah. The defense was playing like shit that day, and Bo Nix was able to rally the team, literally take the team on his back and win that game single-handedly. Put up.
I want to see that in the course of a season that's not a 1 week one-off, because I don't think there's enough examples of that happening. And I do think, like, can good quarterbacks go out there and do that from time to time? They can. And can Bo Nix? He can. I want to see that over the course of a 17-game season where your offensive line is extremely weak, where he's getting no time to throw, he's getting pressure in his face, he's getting rocked, and where his defense isn't getting the stops and the turnovers to get the ball back to the offense. I want to see him in those hard times. Granted, I don't think that's going to happen because you have the best offensive line in football. You have the best defense in football, or second best defense in football. So with those things, I was okay not putting Bo Nix on this list, and that didn't want to do that out of a disrespect for Bo Nix, but rather just more of a compliment to the talent that this division brings, because I complimented Bo Nix a lot, and I continue to do that for what he deserves. But I do think...
So the guy has 10 game-winning drives in him.
Okay.
And
how many does Herbert have? Because he led the league for a while.
Well, let's look it up.
But to be fair, the Chargers can't hold a lead. So if you look at how many times Justin Herbert's having to force a game-winning comeback. Is this ChatGPT?
Yeah.
I don't trust this source anyway.
So I have some arguments that I'm willing to make here.
But
so while this is coming up, what I will say is it kind of pisses me off that your argument is that Bo Nix has like all this talent around him. It's just like that's kind of a soft argument in my opinion, just because like the guy can only do like
with what he has.
With what he has.
It's a hypothetical argument. It is.
So
100%.
It's just like what he has shown in this league. I don't care if like he has the best at everything. He's shown that he can win. And for you to simply sit here and say it's because of everything else that's around him,
but that
is a soft argument.
That argument will never go away, though.
Okay,
you have to get used to that because that is the same for all the players that went. Like
so,
what
I will say is Russell Wilson had the same exact team around him and was awful.
Yeah,
that's the point I'm trying to make here is like, okay, you're going to shit on Russell Wilson for being terrible. But then Bo Nix comes into the same exact situation and
it's
plays
like a 36-year-old vet that's already becoming washed.
So Justin Herbert has 19 game-winning drives. And how long has he been in the league?
That's pretty damn good.
How long has he been in the league?
7 years.
7. Bo Nix has been in the league for 2.
7.
And he's only 9 games behind Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has 5 more years. So, like,
that is surprising.
It's like Bo Nix gets so much hate, and I don't understand why. Like, am I going to sit here and say that Bo Nix is the most talented quarterback in the NFL? No, I'm not. But what the guy has been able to come in and do, put up statistics. Yes, there's the caveat of he's thrown the most passes in the NFL, but the guy wins.
Correct.
And like he's in a situation where he has a good team around him, but this team wasn't who they are without him.
That is correct. That is correct. He does make he's kind of like the final piece to the puzzle, if you will. I just think if you swap Justin Herbert and Bo Nix, I think you say Herbert's a winner too. I do.
Okay.
And I know that's a hypothetical that you can never.
That's a way bigger hypothetical than what.
And
we're
it's just arguments
about.
that you can't prove one way or another because it's purely just speculation.
But what I can prove is that Bo Nix is a winner. I can't prove
correct. Correct. In terms of
you can't
just
prove
standing wise or
standings. I mean,
even
statistically,
how many playoff games has he had now?
He's been in
2. Is
so
it 2?
He had 1 or like he 2. No, so he played in the wild card game last year, and then we played in divisional and AFC championship. So he's played in.
He got hurt in the
so
AFC
he's played in
right?
2.
Yeah, because he didn't play the AFC championship.
He got his shit kicked in by the Buffalo Bills the first year, and then was in an instant classic in the divisional round this year versus the Bills.
That wasn't a catch.
Shut the hell up. It was a catch, but went toe to toe with Josh Allen.
That was one of the best games I've ever seen for Bo Nix. I was so mad.
But it's just like the guy puts up highlight reel after highlight reel.
With a lot of boneheaded plays sprinkled in. You gotta sprinkle some in.
I would be willing to say that if we put Justin Herbert under the microscope that Bo Nix is under, we would see a lot of stupid fucking passes.
He already is though. The amount of shade Justin Herbert gets because he's 0-3 in the playoffs.
But
he's got to be the most criticized quarterback in the league.
After every single year, Justin Herbert's considered a top 5 quarterback, and I don't know why. I don't know
if he is right now though.
I
personally would.
Majority of people would put Justin Herbert in the top 8 of quarterbacks.
Yeah,
and after everything that Bo Nix has done, people consistently have him ranked 20th in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that makes zero sense. And I think a lot of the
times, did you see that episode? Who are those fucking podcasters? They do like, I can name 5 quarterbacks better than I can, and then you keep going until and they make you prove it.
Yeah.
So they just did that. I don't know the name of them, but they just did that with Nix, and they got 17.
That makes zero sense
and
to me.
I don't like Bo Nix. I can't name 17 quarterbacks better than Bo Nix.
No one can.
You know what I mean?
Like, I'm sorry, nobody can.
Yeah.
And it just pisses me off that after everything that Bo Nix has done.
So is Nix your guy to replace it?
So I mean that would be the one that I would argue the most, just simply because of the positional value. Obviously, like I would like to throw Quinn Miner's name in there and Garrett Bowles' name in there because they're both stellar. And honestly, like I think that you can put both of those guys in the same conversation as a Creed Humphrey, Tyler Linderbaum, or Joe Alt.
Sure.
But no,
that's a good point. And so if this is me. The honorable mentions we kind of came up with. We had Quinn Miners, Kenneth Walker, Rashawn Slater, Garrett Bowles, Nix, and I think that was it. Like Khalil Mack, but even then.
Yeah.
So for me, if I have to pick one to maybe replace Brock Bowers or something like that, I'm going with either Garrett Bowles or Rashawn Slater.
Okay.
And I'm going off the importance of that left tackle position, and those guys, I think the importance of quarterback is higher. But the importance of a left tackle is arguably maybe top 3, top 5, right?
Yeah.
And I think Garrett Bowles and Rashawn Slater, assuming we get a healthy Rashawn Slater back, are 2 of the top 3 guys at their position in the entire NFL. Mm-hmm. Like, we're lucky as fans of the Chargers and the Broncos. We are very lucky to have the tackles that we have on our teams. Mm-hmm. So for me, Garrett Bowles has shown it, and he's been reliable. He's been on the field, right? The greatest ability.
Have another beer, Matthew.
Yeah. I'm fucking sober too, dude. What's the saying? The greatest ability is
availability.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So Garrett Bowles has that, right? And so I'm putting in Rashawn Slater or Garrett Bowles if I have to. I don't know.
God, I'm still pissed off about this.
I have one more thing I want to ask you. Do you care if we just throw it in real quick?
Can I just make one more?
It won't take long.
I just want to make one more comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
One more comment before you ask me a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I will say that with your offensive line, it's retooled, revamped. You're getting healthy. Very good. Very good offensive line.
I think
that you guys have.
I think it projects to be.
Slater and Alt. Mm-hmm. And then your interior line.
We're banking on Jake Slaughter.
It's for sure a top half of the NFL offensive line.
I certainly hope so. It should be.
And then you guys have a pretty damn good defense.
Should be.
Okay.
Yeah. Justin Minter's gone, but yeah.
You know where I'm going with this?
I think so.
So if Justin Herbert doesn't win this year, like, can we say that like your whole argument with Bo Nix and having a good defense and having an offensive line, like I feel like I have every right to say the same about Justin Herbert, especially after this year.
He never has in a playoff game, though.
Okay.
So that's why I hate the playoff arguments about Herbert. And some of it, yes, it is his fault.
So in that hypothetical,
but if they are healthy, yes.
Because I just,
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree. But we need those guys to play a playoff game to say this.
Yeah.
We need it.
All I'm saying is Bo Nix has made it to an AFC
Here's my last question for you. If you could pick a single player from each AFC West team, you get one selection per team to add to the Broncos, but you can only use that position once. So you can't pick Mahomes and Herbert. Okay. You can only pick one quarterback, one whatever, right?
Okay.
So you can only use that position once. If you're taking one player from the Raiders, one player from the Chiefs, one player from the Chargers to add to the Broncos roster right now, who are you taking from each team?
Okay, well, the obvious answer, and if you don't...
Let's take Mahomes out of this.
Okay, yeah, okay. So Mahomes is not a part of this.
Let's take Mahomes out of this.
Okay, so from the Chiefs... Oh, man. I'm going to take... I'm going to take... Nick Bolton.
I thought you were going to say that.
Yeah, I'm going to take Nick Bolton from the Chiefs.
Okay.
From the Chargers, I'm going to take Omarion Hampton. It doesn't have to be on the top 10 list here, do I?
No.
Okay. So Omarion Hampton from the Chargers, and then from the Raiders, I'm taking Brock Bowers.
I think the only one surprised, I didn't know if you were going to go Hampton.
Yeah.
I like it.
The reason why I did that is all three of those take position of need, and I feel like if we added those three players to this team, the Broncos are already a top 5 team in the NFL. They are, but if we added those players, we're up there with the Rams easily.
Yeah. Those are great additions. The Nick Bolton one is your biggest position of need, in my opinion, and he's one of the best players at the position. So I completely understand.
And the only other route I would have went was taking.
I didn't know if you'd go Creed or Linderbaum. I know you guys have a really good safety or a really good center, but the opportunity to get the best center.
Yeah, so the reason why I look at it that way is when we're talking the Chiefs, I could take Creed Humphrey, but I feel like Nick Bolton is a better positional, a better fit at a need right now.
Sure.
And I would have thought about maybe taking a Raiders inside linebacker, but being able to get Brock Bowers is way too good to pass up.
Yeah, I get that. For me, I've gone a couple different routes with this.
Better take Bo Nix from the Broncos because he's a winner.
I've gone a couple different routes with this. So from the Chiefs, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to take Mansour Delane.
Well, you guys need it.
And I think we could need an elite CB1 that's going to be one of the best in the league. Mm-hmm. We're projecting. Yeah. We think he will be.
Yeah.
So I would probably do Mansour Delane from the Chiefs. From the Broncos, because I already took a corner, I didn't know if Surtain was going to be available, so I'm gonna shy away from Surtain, and I'm going to take Quinn Miners.
Okay.
And the reason for that being is it's one of your best players on your entire roster, but it's the Chargers' weakest spot of our roster, arguably, is the right guard, right? We have Cole Strange right now, and he does nothing for me. So, Quinn Miners would be my pick from the Broncos. And then from the Raiders, I would say Tyler Linderbaum.
Yeah.
I was going to go Creed and then maybe pivot to Surtain. And then, but the Raiders, I was like, that leaves me Brock or a linebacker. And I'd probably go linebacker just because, is Brock Bowers better than anything we'd ever have? Yeah. But I like what we have with Oronde Gaston, David Njoku, Charlie Kolar. So with that being, I would take a better position of need. But yeah, I'm going to stick with Delane, Quinn, and Linderbaum.
Yeah. Well,
do it.
That's it, I think, for today.
I think we need to do an episode just on
Dude,
Knicks.
holy cow.
Great episode.
That was the most pissed off you've ever seen me.
We were we'll do 45 minutes. We're at 80. I think for a future one, we'll go into some fantasy football talk.
Yeah.
OTAs.
Yeah.
There's going to be some more shit coming. But I'm glad we had some league breaking news so we could pivot from the AFC West for a minute and we could kind of look at what's going on around the entire NFL. And today was a huge day for that. So we got lucky with several newsworthy topics.
Yeah.
So
no, this one was fun. I'm gonna go take my high blood pressure medicine, and we're gonna call it a good one here.
Because you had one beer during the whole show.
Yeah, I got to drive home. So, we're gonna end this one here. Again, always check us out on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We do have Twitter or X,
YouTube,
of course, YouTube. But yeah, we're gonna hop on out of here, and thank you for tuning in. So, go Broncos.